everyone, welcome to the channel. Hope you're all having a fantastic day. So today, it's a big day. We're doing our initial servicing on the 2021 Kawasaki KRX. It's a big deal because, well, the break-in period takes a while. For those of you not familiar with the break-in period, it is driving at 120 miles or 20 hours at less than 50% throttle. So that takes a little time. It's actually taken me about 2 weeks of just heat cycling the engine, going 5 or 6 miles at a time, nice and slow pace, but I finally reached that point. So we're gonna do the initial servicing. For those of you who don't know what that entails, well, let's talk about it. So right here, I have a copy of the owner's manual. I'll put it up on the screen right now. So for the initial servicing, according to the sheet, it says we're gonna change the engine oil, the filter, the front differential, and the rear differential or transmission, as the Kawasaki likes to call it. So what do you need to do this oil change and this servicing for your Kawasaki if you're going to do it yourself? Well, there's a couple options out there. One, you can be like me, and I just went down and I actually ordered this online. They're between $30 and $40, and it comes with your oil filter. It actually has gloves and a paper filter to change the engine oil. Now, that does not include the differential and the rear transmission or rear differential, whatever you want to call it. So what do you need to change your gear oil? Well, you need to look at the manufacturer specs. I got my oil right here. But for your transmission, it takes 1.4 US quarts or 1.32 liters. And you fill it up to the rib on the oil fill opening. Basically fill it up until it comes out. On the front differential, you need 0.85 quarts or 0.8 liters, and again, you fill it up until it comes out. So let's go ahead and get the servicing done. We're gonna start right up here on the front differential and work our way back. I have driven this, so all the fluids are nice and warm, so it should flow out really easy. Let's get started. So coming underneath the front of your vehicle, right here we have an Allen head, and it's an 8mm, so we're gonna go ahead and just break this loose. We'll let that drain. Now that it's drained, it's time to put the oil plug back in so that we can go ahead and fill the front differential. For those of you wondering, let me just show you the sheet. Right here, it's 12.2 foot-pounds of torque on that bolt, just in case you're wondering. So now let's go ahead and get this filled. So to fill this, it's just as simple as putting your gear oil in and squeezing. Now I know this first one takes almost this whole bottle. Now let me show you something. Here is my O-ring. And that goes in here, so make sure you don't lose that. And then just fill it until it comes out. So right there, it's coming out. Go ahead and put the cap back on, and then we'll torque that one down too. Now it's time to move on to the back. So one thing I really like about the kit that I bought is it comes with a new crush washer. A lot of times people forget to buy these or replace them. It's kind of a nice deal. So let me give you the specs real quick. The engine takes 3.3 quarts of oil. I bought the 4-quart kit, so I have some leftover oil. The other specs are the engine oil drain bolt is 15 foot-pounds, and the oil filter is actually 13 foot-pounds. I mean, these service manuals, if you don't have one, you really should invest. So let's go ahead and get the engine oil drained. Now the engine oil is a 17mm, where the transmission is back to an Allen head, and we'll do that one as soon as we get the engine done. So coming underneath your KRX, here is your transmission drain bolt, but we're going to continue to go forward to this opening right here, and that is where the engine drain bolt is going to be, and there is your engine drain bolt. So we're going to go ahead and drain that into a clean container. Go ahead and loosen this. And then we'll go ahead and inspect this drain bolt also. Okay, before I take the engine filter off, I'm going to take off the fill cap. And for those of you wondering, I just have a safety pin I put on here. I drilled a small hole through the fill cap. Let's take that off. My concern was it vibrating off. This was not my idea. I actually saw it on another KRX at the dunes. And this is just an M6x1 bolt with a lock washer and some safety wire. And then for this one on the cap, I drilled a hole on both sides so that we'll hold it in. Is it required? Probably not. The next thing we're gonna do is we're gonna jam some paper towels up here, because this is probably gonna make a mess. Especially with the break-in oil. It's a little bit thinner. I think it's actually mineral oil. Now, I've already busted this loose. Let's just go ahead and get this off. And straight up. As you can see, it is draining down. We'll go ahead and get this surface cleaned up here in just a minute when it finishes draining on the paper towels. And then we'll put the new oil filter on. We're gonna go ahead and make sure that we lubricate that seal before we put this on, and then we'll put the drain bolt back in. So everything's nice and torqued down. We'll go ahead and we'll get our funnel. Stick it in there, 3.3 quarts. And if you see, I'm right below the top of the fill line, which is about perfect, because as soon as I start it up, it'll fill the oil filter, and we still have 2/3 of a quart left. So I'm gonna put the cap on, and we'll start with the rear differential. Now the final section of fluid. It is the transmission or the final drive. Drain plug is 15 foot-pounds. Fill plug is 12.9 foot-pounds. When you tighten it, it holds 1.4 quarts, and it is a number 6 or 6 millimeter on the Allen head to remove it. Okay, so the final drain plug is right back here. It's the most farthest one back. That was definitely tighter than 15 foot-pounds. And look at that drain plug. It looks completely clean and clear. This one does not seem to be magnetic. And then we'll change this out also. I did order another one of those. Okay, as you can hear, the other one's draining. This is your fill port. So this one you may need a hose of some sort to go ahead and get off. I've already cracked it loose. It's just like the front though. And then go ahead and make sure that seal's there, set it aside. Once it's completely done draining, we'll go ahead, we'll put the drain plug back in, and we'll fill it right back up here. You can actually see there's a groove there. And again, 1.4 quarts, or just until it comes out. Well, that's all Kawasaki calls for your first servicing. Front differential, engine oil, rear differential. Now, I went ahead, I started the engine, I checked for leaks, we're all good there. I did end up adding a little bit more oil, because once that oil filter filled, it was a little lower than I liked. But I am not done. Kawasaki may say I'm done, but I'm not done. Let me explain why. This is a brand new machine. It's got 120 miles on it. So while all the oil was draining, I've actually gone through off camera and just put my hands on everything, given a visual inspection. I've pulled, pushed, tugged to make sure there's no loose nuts or bolts. And luckily I didn't find anything. The next thing I'm gonna do is I'm gonna go ahead and check the locking rings and the torque. Now I've already done 3 tires, but let me show you how to do this last tire here. And there's one more item I'm gonna complete before I'm finished with my first servicing. So let's go ahead and check these locking nuts. So if you're to service your bead lock rings, or even just to change your tire in your garage, there's a certain way to tighten these bead locks. So first of all, you go in a start pattern. So you can start anywhere you want. I like to start at the top, you go top, bottom, side, side, and you go around in a start pattern. The next thing is you do 3 passes. The first pass is gonna be at 13 foot-pounds. Second pass is gonna be at 41 foot-pounds. And a third pass is going to be again at 41 foot-pounds. Now there's one other thing to remember when you're servicing these. When lining this ring up, you need to look at where your valve stem is. Mine is right here. And I don't know if you can see that, but there's a little arrow right there in this mark. And if you'll notice, this one here is just a little bit taller than this one, and then this one's taller. So that tells you where you put your valve stem. You don't have to, but it makes your life a lot easier because it is hard to get in here and fill up these tires. So now let's go ahead and get this torqued up and do the one last item we need to do. Now that I've got all the bead locks double checked to 41 foot-pounds, there's one more thing I want to do on this initial servicing, and I wanted to blow out your CVT or your clutches. I know it's not a requirement, but you got a brand new belt in there, you broke it in. It's not a bad idea just to check everything. Now we will torque the bolts down. We'll get to that here in a minute, but it is just a 10 millimeter and we're gonna zip everything off. Now we'll get some compressed air so we can blow it out, and we'll just do a quick visual check on our belt. So let's go ahead and take a quick look in here. Everything looks nice and clean. Not much dirt or dust came out. There's no checking. And the belt, I mean, it's got 120 miles on it. The sheaves look good. So really no issues I see in here. I don't see any of the bolts backing out. So now I'll go ahead, I'll put this cover back on. This, again, are going to be 15 foot-pounds all the way around. That's it. That is everything you need to do for your first servicing, plus a few extra things for good measure. Now there is one more thing you got to do before you can finish, and that's drive it. Have some fun. You're through the break-in period. So don't forget to like, share, subscribe, and until next time.